Επικίνδυνα σε θέλω πολύ, επικίνδυνα σε κάθε φιλή. Σαν χάρτινο καράβι η ψυχή, τη θάλασσα σου αρμενίζω. Να νιώθω τα κορμιά μας αγκαλιά φρεγμένα. Σε περίμενα, όλα εφήμερα. Έλεγα ήτανε και τώρα κοίτα με. Επικίνδυνα σε θέλω πολύ, επικίνδυνα σε κάθε φιλή. Επικίνδυνα σε θέλω εδώ, χαλάλι σου, για πάρτι σου. Επικίνδυνα ζω, επικίνδυνα σε θέλω πολύ, επικίνδυνα σε κάθε φιλή. Επικίνδυνα σε θέλω εδώ, χαλάλι σου, για πάρτι σου. Επικίνδυνα ζω.
All right, then. This is Emperor Telkinese of Telkinese Sports Media. We are back at it again. We have taken a little bit of time to work on the CCD International project. Come to think, after what has been going on with some of the divides within the CCD. We are gonna stick with the independent project for now, while we look at what further tweaks need to be made to CCD International in order to make sure that platform thrives accordingly. With CCD International, the issue is, you have a lot of members of the CCD who rather stay in their little cliques and their deep holes, and they're all tied in with the T sector individuals. And a lot of the CCD members, they refuse to. They really do refuse to, be on the other side of the whole entire situation. They would rather be on the side as the people doing all of the complaining and the cucking and all the weird stuff. We know exactly what's going on over there. So we're looking at the situation. There are some loyal members within the CCD ranks that that rock with CCD International. Shout out to those guys. But we're going to definitely look at what we can do here on this here platform, and see what comes up next. So I'm sure everybody is wondering what's with the title, right? What's with the title? Well, there's a pretty good reason why I called this Opetaia fans cry, Usyk fans duck, and Haney fans cower. And the reason why I say that is all I'm hearing from the Opetaia fans are crying. Oh, it's not fair the IBF shipped Opetaia. Oh my god, he's been fighting all these times a year for this amount of time. Well, there's fine lines not to cross in the sport of boxing. And, this is one of them, for Mr. Opetaia. If there's a rule in the IBF that says, don't cross the street or we're gonna pull your belt, that's exactly the situation that he ignored. Like, this is something you're supposed to inquire into before you make that business move. Now you're locked into a contract where becoming undisputed is obsolete. What are you going to become undisputed of now? The undisputed trinket belt holder? Are you going to go around fighting a bunch of collecting a bunch of regional belts and try to call it a world title belt? That's exactly what people are asking for. Usyk fans, they duck along with Usyk. So there's no reason to just keep on rocking that. He's ducked Wardley. He's ducked Cabello. He's ducked Moses Atama. And I'm sure there's more ducks to go, because after he fights Rico Verhoeven, the only thing that's going to be left for Usyk is fighting trilogies. So it's eventually going to lead to this belt pulling their belt away from him, and then another belt. He's already one belt down. So I'm sure he's gonna defend against Verhoeven, duck Cabello, give up the WBC belt, and then he's gonna probably be stuck there with about two belts, wondering. And then by that time, the WBA regular champion will cash in, wondering when there's chances, right? So chances are it's either the regular champ is going to get moved up to the interim champ, or it's going to be an outright challenge, depending on the circumstances. The WBA kind of works in that way, in case you guys don't know. Like, there's certain aspects of there's multiple paths to get a title shot in the WBA. That's for sure. And it's the same way with other sanctioning bodies as well. So we're definitely going to start exposing these clowns on a level never seen before. These clowns who think that they run the show because they have 300 subscribers on YouTube, or 400 or 700. It doesn't really matter by this point. I saw one person over the span of the past couple of years double their numbers just by, putting T sector individuals in there. But unfortunately now, them bringing those people over, it's ruined the overall product and growth of the product, because you brought in a septic following that unfortunately ruins the product, your show. um, through drama, through clownery, and you know, you can't have a serious topic anymore. You know, you're turning YouTube into like a freaking Jerry Springer show or something. You know what I mean? If you want to have that, at least be more transparent about it. But these clowns who think that you know it's just regular drama with no business at all. I mean, why are you YTBC? All like now it seems like all these clowns going around saying they're YTBC aren't YTBC anymore because they jumped into the T sector, bro. So that's an unfortunate fact. You can't have both sides here. You have to pick a side. It's absolute clowning. Like some people, they they stay on the fence, and those are the people that are just as bad as being on the other side because their loyalties can sway and falter. We don't need any of that going on. But in order to save a community, you must be able to address the problem and be able to act on that. But if no one, tries it within their community, then the situation's gonna be as it is. Absolute clownery. With the T sector, all I saw is just moping and complaining. In the middle, most of the time, it's just talking about drama in the middle of something serious like boxing or MMA streams around the YTBC, and there they are, just talking about what? Freaking getting your nails done and getting your hair curled. That makes zero sense on a boxing stream. Well, tell me, what does getting your fingernails done and your hair curled have anything to do with the sport of boxing? That's the question I have for all these YTBC channels that have T sector people on there. They ruin their product. They shut the bed, and they're nowhere to be seen. I mean, a lot of them haven't even streamed in the past couple days. But there's some people where it's like, man, are you gonna go full blown T sector, or are you staying in between, bro? Because there's no in between T sector and YTBC. Because the YTBC is for boxing chat. So if you want drama, go to the drama section of YouTube. T sector is just freaking the Jerry Springer and the Maury Povich of whatever you want to call their community is. I mean, a duck goes quack and the cow goes moo. But when you get smacked to the face, your lips are turning blue. Facts. That's rhymes, boy. Easy work. You're never going to see these clowns stop what they're doing. And the only way you get rid of the problem is if you address it yourself. You know, this is a community project for the YTBC because in these YTBC streets, nobody even compares the level of comprehensive destruction and annihilation in the arts of pugilism. You know, you can have two people, you can have three people, you can have four people watching, you can have no people watching. And this situation remains. You know, this situation still needs to be addressed. So, unless if you take that measure and go the distance of that measure, you and your channels will continue to be ran by drama instead of boxing analytics and facts. You have to show some control on your platforms and quit cowering within drama. Easy work. And now that I've cooked the whole entire YTBC within a very short period of time, I'm going to get off of you because these clowns show no appreciation to the great arts of boxing. And, you know, I'm really interested in seeing the winner of Fedora and Thurman. Um, I'm definitely rooting for Thurman on this one because Fedora is a draft and is kind of Fedora is that fighter. When I watch, I know it's going to be entertaining if he wins and entertaining if he gets knocked out. Because if he gets knocked out like he did against Mendoza, you know, we're gonna have a good time, you know. But it's all about Thurman getting inside and breaking them down rather than, you know, just swinging wildly, hoping it lands, getting clipped on the way in. So, with all that being said, this is Emperor Tokenes signing out.